you are a content creator, YouTuber, influencer, you probably love to search for different shooting setups, equipments, tips, and more, right? At least I do. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my current setup and how I shoot my videos here in my studio / office / apartment. And I'll start off with this setup that I'm currently at. Here's where I shoot my reviews, more in-depth videos, usually reading from a teleprompter. Before we get started, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And in case you're interested, all of my equipment links are listed down below in the description. So in this setup, the camera that I use is the Sony a7C, and the main reason why I chose this camera was because it was a full frame camera, but it has a smaller body if compared to the other full frame cameras in the market. So if I want to shoot in different locations or if I want to use it for photos, it is an extremely portable camera. Something else that I love about it is that the autofocus works really well, so if by any chance I need to record by myself, I don't have to worry about the focus. Talking about the lens, in this setup I use the Tamron 28-75 f2.8. It is a zoom lens, and the reason why I chose this one in particular is that I can use it in different types of shots. For example, I'm using it here right now, but I also use this lens to shoot my iPhone tutorials because I can simply zoom in or out whenever I need to. I'll show you my tutorial setup as well in a minute. Now, as I've said beforehand, I use a teleprompter in this setup. The one that I'm currently using is the one by Glide Gear. It is simple, easy to use, and I use it with an iPad. So I type all of my scripts on Google Docs, then export it to the teleprompter app, and then control it on my iPhone. This teleprompter, as I said, is really easy to use and it works extremely well for me at the moment. To mount the camera to the teleprompter, I use the Manfrotto quick release. I have it attached to all of my tripods, arms, and ball heads, and this is definitely an essential accessory for me because of two important characteristics. First, as the name already suggests, it is a quick release, so it is extremely quick to mount and dismount the camera from the tripod. And second, it has a safety system that locks the camera in place, so I don't have to worry about the camera falling off of the tripod for any reason. This happened to me before, and I've been using this quick release since then. This specific one by Manfrotto is not cheap, but I've used a few from other brands and they don't work as well in my opinion, so I think this one is extremely worth it. Talking about the tripod, I currently own the Magnus Rex VT 4000 Pro, and I chose it because it is robust, resistant, and also because of the price. I paid a little bit over $100 for it. Then I also purchased a dolly to go with it so I could move the tripod more easily through my living room. This is the Magnus CWF2. And in this setup, I also use the FeelWorld 7-inch 4K monitor, which is another essential equipment for me because it allows me to check my position before shooting. I can fix my hair if I need to, things like that. Also, this monitor is very bright, and this was one of the reasons why I chose this model. I don't sit too close to the camera here, so I wanted a monitor that would allow me to see myself clear enough, even being far away. Now, in order for me to mount the monitor to my tripod, I use the SmallRig Magic Arm. If you don't know this brand, make sure to check out their website because they have amazing camera accessories. Moving on to audio, I have the OnStage boom mic stand right here above my head, and my boom mic is the Rode NTG. I really care about audio, and it is one of the most important aspects of a video, in my opinion. It is extremely difficult to watch a video with bad audio, and you notice throughout this video that my husband Pedro and I are always looking for easier and more practical ways to shoot so we can shoot faster, reduce editing time, and so on. So Pedro kind of jerry-rigged something here in order for us to record the audio wirelessly in the camera, so we wouldn't need to sync the audio with the video in post. This is working great for us, so instead of plugging the mic to our audio recorder record the audio and video and then synchronize both of them in post, we plugged the mic to the Rode Wireless Go, which is a wireless transmitter and mic. I've talked about it on my mics video. This was all in order to transform the NTG into a wireless boom mic. So it is plugged to the Wireless Go right here, and then the receiver is plugged in the camera. It's working great and saving us a lot of time. Then two other accessories that we're using are the small rig super clamp and holder for portable power banks. We've decided to mount an Anker power bank to the mic stand so we wouldn't need to detach the Wireless Go to charge it. We can only plug the cable to it and that's it. Talking about lighting, I use the Godox SL60 here on my left side as my key light with the Westcott umbrella on the Manfrotto light stand. We chose this light in particular because we were looking for an LED light that would also allow us to easily attach a diffuser in front of it, so I would have soft light on my face. This is also the reason why I use the umbrella, because it's probably one of the cheapest ways to have a diffuse light. Besides, this is one of the cheapest lights in the category. I believe we paid $115 for it. The SL60 is not wireless, which could be a downside for many of you in case you need to move it a lot, if you're not always close to an outlet. However, this is not an issue for us. All the lights that I currently use are plugged to an outlet at all times, and they are also positioned in a way that I always have room to move it a little if I need to. For my live stream setup, for example, because I do a lot of live streams on my Brazilian channel, I don't move the light at all, so this is definitely not an issue. Also, it's important to consider that wireless lights are a lot more expensive and they require us to be always charging its batteries. You'll see that all the equipment that I'm talking about are extremely customized for what I need. So now that I showed you guys my setup number one, I would say, let's go to my desk over here so I can show you my live stream setup and tutorial setup. So this is my second setup, as I usually call it, like my live stream setup, because I do a lot of live streams on my Brazilian channel. But here I also shoot a little bit of my rumors, like whenever I talk about Apple leaks and stuff like that. I shoot my Amazon's video here. I shoot a lot of videos here actually, but in this case, I don't have a teleprompter. Talking about the camera, I also use an A7C in this setup, and I call this camera my camera A because this other one, which I call camera B, is the one that is always moving. So this is the camera that I shoot my setup number one. I shoot all of my B-rolls, tutorials. You'll see it in a minute. About the lens, I used the Sony 35mm f2.8 in this setup, and this one is a prime lens, and one of the reasons why I chose this one is because I like this focal length. I've tested it before and it's the one that I'm comfortable using in this situation. I like the way it looks, and also it is a small lens, so if by any chance I'm traveling and I want to have a small kit to carry with me, this is the perfect setup, the perfect kit to take with me on a trip to take photos. Now, one of the most important equipment that I currently have in my studio is the Manfrotto arms. I actually have 5 of them. One is holding my camera. I also have another one with my light. I have another one in front of me, which I use to shoot my tabletop. You understand what I mean in a second. And Pedro, my husband, has 2 of those on his desk because he's the one that talks with me on my live stream. So he has one for the camera B, and also for his light. Before using these arms, I used to have a tripod here to hold my camera. I also used a C-stand to shoot all of my tutorials. And if you don't know what a C-stand is, it is basically a really big and heavy tripod. So it used to take a lot of space on my living room, and it wasn't convenient and easy to set up and everything. So I wanted something, again, that would help me shoot faster and more efficiently. So these arms are all mounted to the wall through the impact plate. So I have 5 plates and 5 arms. And the good thing is that I can position the camera however I need. But basically, whenever I mounted the arm here, I positioned it one time and it is always on the same position. So my frame is always the same one. I'm not constantly moving this camera. So basically, whenever I need to shoot here, I can only sit and turn on my equipment and that's it. I don't have to be moving the tripod. I don't have to be setting up the camera and anything like that. It is a lot faster. As I mentioned beforehand, I have another quick release mounted to the Manfrotto ball head, and I've talked about the quick release, it's extremely essential, but the ball head is also great in this situation because I don't want to be repositioning the arm all the time. So if by any chance I need to change the angle, my camera angle just a tiny bit, I can use the ball head for it. So it is easier to reposition. I have another monitor here by Feel World. This one is the 5.7-inch 4K monitor. It is smaller than the other one that I have on my setup number 1, but I'm kind of close to the camera here, so I don't feel the need of having a big monitor right here. This is extremely convenient for me. I can check myself, see if my hair looks nice or if I'm good like in frame and all of that, and it also stays in place all the time. Moving on to audio, the mic that I currently use is the Rode Pod mic, and this one is a dynamic mic, which is great because it isolates the environmental sound. About the arm, this is one of the best ones. It works extremely well. I can position the mic however I want to, and the mic will stay in place. So as you can see right here, the mic is not moving or anything like that because I basically positioned it here and the arm holds it in place. This arm is called PSA1 and it's also by Rode. Now, in my setup number 1, I've mentioned that I like to shoot the audio built in the camera. So we jerry-rigged the whole thing for the wireless boom mic and everything, remember? In this situation, I record the audio separately. So in this setup, I use the mixpre 3 audio interface because as this mic is a dynamic mic, it requires a preamplifier. Sony has one, so you can plug the mic directly to the camera, but I didn't want to spend too much and I opted to purchase the mixpre 3 and it's working really well for me. As I've mentioned, it is an audio interface, so I can record or send the audio to the computer, and it works up to 3 mics, which is great for me on my live streams because I'm using a mic and my husband is using another one. If by any chance we needed to include a third one, we would be able to. This audio interface in particular has 2 great benefits. First, it has an analog limiter, so it gives me assurance that my audio is not going to clip during my live streams. I basically don't have to worry about the volume at all. And second, it records in 32 bits. So as I've said, I don't have to worry about the volume at all. I can change everything in post if I need to. So whenever I'm recording, I can speak extremely quietly like ASMR, or I can record an explosion and still turn the volume up or down in post without any distortion. Talking about the light, I briefly mentioned that I have a light here on my left side. So I have another Godox SL60 right here, also mounted to a Manfrotto arm. I use 2 different brands for the arms. I have Manfrotto and Impact. The Impact one is cheaper, and after using them for a while, I've noticed that the Impact one is easy to handle. Like, it's easier to open and close and reposition. I feel like it holds the equipment in place better than the Manfrotto one, but both of them are great. If you want to save a little bit of money, go with the Impact one because you will not regret it. In this setup, I'm also using the Westcott umbrella in front of my light. Pedro, my husband, also has one on his light right there, and we did something different here. We bought the GoSund smart plug to turn all of these lights into smart lights so we can control them through the Google Nest Mini. So basically, whenever I'm ready to record or to go live, I sit here and tell Google, going live, and then automatically my light turns on, all of my lights on my apartment turns off. If my TV is off, Google will turn it on for me, and this light right here, which is the Philips light strip, will turn blue. So I have a whole scene for whenever I'm shooting. So again, it is a lot faster. I don't have to be turning the lights on and off and arranging anything. And the last equipment that I use in this setup is my M1 MacBook Air and the monitor, which is the LG 31.5-inch 4K monitor. I'm not going to go in depth about this equipment right now because I will also be shooting a video to show you guys my desk, so stay tuned for that. And now we're gonna move on to scene number 3. This one is what I call TT, tabletop, because it is the type of shoot that I do for all of my iPhone tutorials. So I usually get my iPhone, put on top of my desk, and shoot it from above. In this situation, I use camera B again, the A7C with the Tamron 28-75 f2.8, and I attach this camera to the Manfrotto arm that sits in front of me. I have another quick release, so it is extremely easy to attach and detach, as I mentioned before. And here I use the same light that is currently on my left side, but I use a second light as well. The second light is also a Godox SL60, and it is the same light that I use for my setup number 1. So this one usually sits right here on my right side, but I just have to move it a tiny bit, open the umbrella, and turn it on. That's it. And last but not least, the last type of shoot that I have is B-roll, extra images, and I have 2 different ways to shoot. First, if I need to be in frame, my husband will film myself using, again, camera B with a Tamron 28-75 f2.8, and he also uses the gimbal. The one that we're currently using is the weebill-s, and he films myself. He's my official cameraman. Then the second way is if I need to shoot products or anything like that. For example, if I need to shoot a adapter or the iPhone, if I need to shoot a cable, I'm usually the one that shoots all of this type of images, and then Pedro jerry-rigged something else for us that is working extremely well. So we attach the gimbal to the Sirui monopod, and I control the gimbal through my iPhone. So this way, all of the images are extremely stable, all of the images are smooth, and the camera doesn't shake at all. And this is my current setup for all my videos and my live streams. All the links for my equipment are listed down below in the description in case you're interested. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.